We'll gather around, feel the love come down. Blue elephant is strong, together we belong. In every comment.
Hey guys, welcome to my channel. So we are going to do probably the one and only Christmas in July video today, and we are doing it into resin style with this absolutely amazing, gorgeous, beautiful, all of the things divided tray mold by them. So I mixed up 24 ounces of Bond Craftor epoxy resin, used my Resiners dual mixing machine to do that. I am just mixing in from scraping the sides and all of that stuff. I'm going to then divide this into 3 separate cups. We are doing alcohol inks in red and green by Let's Resin. And then I'm also going to use Let's Resin's gold chrome powder in here as well. And we're gonna try and make something beautiful. Do something a little different. So I have no idea how much this mold holds. I am assuming just by the sheer size of it, it's not going to be any less than 20 ounces. I really don't know. So we're gonna just try and see what happens. I just added in a huge squeeze of the green alcohol ink, and that is because I want the green to be green, right? I want it to be a very vibrant green. I don't want it to be so dark that it's gonna ruin that kind of diamond sparkle on it. I don't think that we're gonna have an issue with it, but we'll see. We're gonna see what happens. And testing it on my paper towel just to make sure that the shade of green is what I want when I'm actually pulling it out and it's not so deep, because we do have some very thin parts on here. Yes, this is a huge mold, but it because of the sides of the walls are very thin, the bottom between where the like the diamond facets are and where the actual bottom of the mold is going to be is very thin. I want to make sure that it's not going to be too light. The colors in your cup when it's that deep can be very deceiving and make it look like it's something that it's not. It can look super dark, but when you put just a little bit on your paper towel like that, it may be lighter than the shade that you're going for. So I am going pretty dark, very vibrant in these 2 shades. Now, as for the chrome powder, if you have not mixed this into resin yet, it is slightly different, or at least the way I'm using it is slightly different than a typical mica. A typical mica powder, you put in that much and you're going to get a pretty opaque color. This is kind of weird. It's very interesting to look at because it looks very opaque from here, but when I pick it up on my stick, I can still see through this to the stick. However, that being said, because it is what it is and this isn't the intended purpose of it, I'm not going to go crazy and put a bunch of it in to try and make it opaque. It'll serve its purposes just fine. I've done it many times before. It doesn't appear very transparent when you actually put it into whatever mold you're using. So that's what we're going to do. Now, I did spray this mold with alcohol just because there's a lot of places for bubbles to get caught. And I did kind of drizzle some clear resin just all over it just to help a little bit with the movement. Now, I don't want these colors to blend. Like, I want them to stay where I'm putting them as much as possible. But I did feel like the need to throw a little bit of clear resin in, so that's what I did. I'm also hoping that by doing that in the spots where the clear resin is kind of laying, that maybe I'll get a different variation in the tint of the red or the green. Like, it'll lighten it up some so that when you look at it, it's not going to be just one like solid red or solid green. You're going to get different shades of it. So I don't know if it's going to work, but I'm hoping that it will. I am just going in here with a tiny bit of resin at first, trying to kind of lay down where I want my colors so that these colors are going to hit that top rim of the mold Do you know what I mean? Like when they go down there. If I just put one color here or there and just left it at that, I'm just going to get one color on the bottom because that resin's going to start flowing and self-leveling around the bottom of the rim. I want the different colors, so adding it slowly, and then I'm just going to continue to dump on the colors as I go once I've already kind of hit my spots on where I want them. The gold, I'm really just using as an accent here and there. Like I said, it's not super crazy transparent, so I mean opaque. So it's just gonna add a little bling to it, right? Without adding the glitters and all of that good stuff. Then I decided that I'm just going to take my silicone tool and just kind of shove it down in an up and down fashion, just in between the walls of the mold. Hopefully, if there's any air bubbles in there, they will come out and I won't have an issue with it. I don't want to drag it because then I'm going to move the resin and the colors of where I have it, and it's just going to muddy up, and I don't want that to happen. And then we're just going to finish using the resin, finish filling this up. Now, I am not filling it all the way to the top. I'm going to use the 16-ish ounces of color that I have, and then I'm going to use pretty much all of the gold that I have left in this, and we're just going to let this go. I mean, honestly, it fills it up the majority of the way. I'm going to put a backing on here after this is cured, and you'll see what we're going to do with that then. But for now, this is what I want to do. It's covering the majority of all of the diamond kind of cutouts in there. All right, after I've got this done, now it's time to do this little lid or whatever. Quick squirt of alcohol. I'm going to get this out of the way. We're going to do the same thing with this. Quick spray of alcohol just to kind of pop any bubbles. Now, because I did use all of my green and red, I do have some clear left over. I'm just going to pour a little bit into each of these cups. Color that because I do want it to match with the actual tray itself. I'm going to end up having to put the colors in a little bit differently though, just because the shape of this being rounded, it's going to be different. I think what I'm going to do is, I mean, you saw I put a little bit of clear resin down just like I did in the large piece. Am I going to get the color variation? I don't know. We're just going to kind of go in a kind of straight-ish line and put the color on each side divided by, split in half by the gold in the middle. And then once I go around the edges of it just to make sure that there's no bubbles trapped in there, I'm just going to finish filling it up. I'm going to take my silicone tool and kind of just go zigzag back and forth just a little bit to pull the color like into it so it's not a straight line, and we'll just let it go. Like I don't know how much movement it's going to have. I mean, it's been a little while since I mixed this, so I don't know. We're just going to have to wait and see. And we're just going to spray it with alcohol, let it do its thing. Okay, so 24 hours later, now it is time to put the last layer of resin on this. Now for this, I mixed up about 3.5 ounces of Let's Resin's Fast Cure. I don't need to do epoxy. I don't need to wait a whole nother day. I want to get this done and get this demolded and see what it looks like. I also decided that I want to try just adding a tiny little bit of some extra fine gold glitter in there. And I mean, just a little bit, just to give it an added sparkle to the bottom. I realize I've got the gold in there already. I just want to, I don't know, I wanted to do it, so I did it. So I am going to mix this in, and I'm mixing super, super slowly, as you can see. And then I'm going to put this through my Let's Resin bubble remover. Now, because it is fast cure resin and it is a very high viscosity resin, it is going to take a hot minute in the debubbler to pull out those bubbles. And when it pulls it out and you have glitter in there, the glitter all seems to want to like stay at the top. So you kind of got to just give it just a quick, when I say quick, I don't mean really quick, a very slow stir in so you're not incorporating any bubbles, just to get that glitter that's setting on the top mixed back in there. All right, I'm adding a little bit to this. Now, technically speaking, this is really full. It does not need any more. I'm hoping that I don't make it too full. But I did want the added glitter on the bottom of this too, just so that it matches with the big piece. So we're going to do just a very, very thin layer, just enough to get it to all the edges of it. I did hit it with my heat gun real quick. I'm just trying to torch it just to get out any bubbles that may be there from me moving it around. Go around the edges again one more time just to make sure that it's touching everywhere. I need a tiny little bit more here, so did that. All right, set that off to the side. Now I did spray this with alcohol, and the reason that I did that is because along the edges of this mold, I still have a lot of those kind of diamond crystal facets that are still showing because they go to the very bottom. So I want to make sure that I'm not going to have an issue with air bubbles getting trapped there. Dump my resin on, and now I'm going to like really go at it with this heat gun to get it to more of a liquefied flowy state so that I can move it around easier without incorporating bubbles. So this is just going to help me push it out to all of those edges of the mold. And then I'm just going to take my silicone spatula, go the rest of the way around. Once I get the resin like completely spread all over it, I will go around those 90-degree edges of the mold, or the 90-degree angles that are there between the resin that I poured the day before and this new batch and all of the diamond facets, to make sure that there's no air bubbles trapped in there. So I will go around that really well, spray it with alcohol, and then we're gonna let this thing cure and see what happens. I personally think that the gold added to it, at least from the bottom. Now, are you gonna be able to see it once we demold? I don't know. I guess we'll just have to wait and see. I know typically glitter doesn't do real well in these kind of diamond crystal type molds, but like it's pretty. So why not? You know what I mean? Like I'm really excited. I'm really looking forward to demolding this and seeing how it turns out. I really want to make like a bunch of these. I really do. I am really weird. I know. I love like kitchen type stuff. I love like serving platters and dishes and things like that. And I especially love them if it's something that I can use for the holidays and family get-togethers and all of those things. So I really want to make a bunch of them and all kinds of different colors for different seasonalities and things and whatever. I don't know where I'm going to put them, but we'll see. All right, so it is finally time to demold. I'm glad that the design that I put in there kind of stuck. Like, I think it looks pretty. It just kind of swoopy back and forth. That gold from the chrome powder did its job. It just added a little bit that sparkle of gold that you kind of feel at Christmas time. You know what I mean? Now it is time to demold this beast. And never having done it before, it is very easy to get the sides off. The silicone is a very squishy, pliable silicone. Like it's lovely. It really is. The hardest part is trying to figure out, because you're not supposed to touch the inside of the molds. Technically, I should probably have gloves on, but I was being lazy and didn't feel like putting gloves on. Um, it's just breaking that suction that's in between each one of these sections. But after you kind of sort of get the first one, if you're laying it on its back like this, like actually with the mold up front, and you can just kind of shimmy it out, it's really not that difficult once you figure out the movements that you need to make in order to do it, if that makes sense. Really not, just takes a little bit of force. That center section comes out perfectly fine. All right, and here we go. I think it's really pretty. Do you see how I do have the different variations in color from the reds and the greens? Somewhere it's more intense, somewhere it's lighter. I really think that adding that little bit of clear that I drizzled in there helped a lot of that, so that now it's not just straight dark one color kind of boring. We have different color variations in there, which just adds to it. I like how the sides are darker and more intense in color. Like it's just really, really pretty. The gold adds a little bit to it, but not overdoing it, because if you add too much, it can take over real, real quick. Can you tell that there is gold underneath, like with the glitter? Not really, not so much, but hey, it's fine. If anyone looks at the bottom of it, it'll be pretty to look at, like when you're washing dishes and stuff. Okay, so I do have to trim down this little lid a little bit because of just overfilling it too much, just to make it fit in there, but super easy. It's just a couple quick scrapes around the side. Nothing major, just to get it. And then it does set in there really nicely. Absolutely beautiful. Like this mold is just stunning. It really truly is. The sides are all different. Like I absolutely love it. Into Resin, you have outdone yourself once again. Anyway, guys, that's a wrap on this one. Like, subscribe, share, all that good stuff. I will see you on Tuesday in the next one. Love ya. Bye.
Blue elephant is strong. Together we belong. In every comment right, you lift me to new heights. Your support, it's clear, gives me reason to cheer. Blue elephant crew, this one's all for you. You make dreams come true with everything you do. Each subscriber's heart playing a vital part. Videos we share, showing how much we care. Likes and shares, they grow. You make the channel